Boundless ocean expanses have always harbored mysteries in their dark depths, which the human mind cannot comprehend. Welcome to a journey through the most enigmatic and inexplicable maritime secrets that have long stirred the imagination of researchers and ordinary sailors alike. What happens in the ominous Bermuda Triangle, where ships and planes vanish without a trace, as if swallowed by an unknown force? Where do ghostly ships, like the legendary Flying Dutchman, appear, doomed to wander the waves forever without crew or purpose? Many sailors swear they have heard strange, piercing sounds emanating from the ocean depths, sounds that do not belong to any known scientific entity. What lies beneath the water's surface? Ancient civilizations, sunken cities with incredible technologies, or something even more mysterious and frightening? Today, we will delve into the abyss of these mysteries, balancing on the edge of scientific explanations and mystical legends passed down through generations by those who have encountered the inexplicable. Prepare yourselves. Some of these stories are capable of making even the bravest adventurers shudder. The most ominous mystery of the world's oceans remains the infamous Bermuda Triangle, a section of the Atlantic Ocean where, as if by the will of unknown forces, ships and planes disappear without a trace, leaving behind no signs of distress. This gloomy territory, bounded by arbitrary lines between the Bermuda Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Florida coast, has witnessed dozens of unexplained tragedies. Let us recall the mysterious disappearance of 5 torpedo bombers 19 in December 1945. Experienced pilots conducting a routine training flight suddenly reported strange phenomena. We don't see land. Everything looks strange. Even the ocean is not as usual. The last words heard by the controllers were filled with panic and confusion. What did these pilots see over the dark waters? What unknown horror caused them to lose their bearings? The rescue plane sent to search for them also vanished without a trace in these cursed waters, as if some invisible force had swallowed it. No less mysterious is the fate of the cargo ship Marian Sulphur Queen, which disappeared in February 1963 under ideal weather conditions. The ship, like a ghost, dissolved in the clear, sunny day, sending no distress signal. How can such disappearances be explained? Some scientists offer rational explanations. Methane releases from the ocean floor, capable of instantaneously depriving a ship of buoyancy. Anomalous magnetic fields, disabling navigation instruments. Sudden infrasound waves, causing panic and disorientation in people. But why do such strange phenomena concentrate in this area? Other researchers turn to more exotic theories. Time portals opening in the depths of the triangle. Activity of extraterrestrial civilizations using this zone for their incomprehensible purposes. Or even the legacy of the ancient civilization of Atlantis, whose destroyed technological devices continue to generate energy vortices on the ocean floor. Local sailors tell of strange mists rising from nowhere in the middle of a clear day, of inexplicable malfunctions in compasses and electronic equipment, of unusual luminescence of the water at night. When you enter these waters, you feel that you are being watched, shared Jorge Martinez, captain of a fishing vessel who has worked in these waters for more than 30 years. The ocean here is different, darker, deeper, more alive. Especially disturbing for scientists is the fact that many ships that disappeared were equipped with the most modern communication and navigation devices, and their captains had impeccable reputations and extensive experience. What could silence an experienced captain, not giving him time even for a brief distress signal? What force could so quickly and completely engulf an entire ship? Despite decades of research, the use of the most advanced technologies and analysis methods, the Bermuda Triangle continues to keep its secrets, as if mocking human attempts to unravel its dark mystery. And while the scientific community debates the causes of these mysterious disappearances, sailors continue to look at maps with trepidation, planning routes that will allow them to bypass these ominous waters, where the boundary between the known and the incomprehensible becomes frighteningly thin. But the Bermuda Triangle is just one of many oceanic anomalies on our planet. No less mysterious is the Devil's Sea off the coast of Japan, where similar unexplained disappearances occur. What connects these distant parts of the world's oceans? Is it possible that they are part of a global network of energy anomalies encircling our planet, with an invisible web of mysteries and inexplicable phenomena? Speaking of the mysterious places of the world's oceans, it is impossible not to remember the greatest maritime mystery, whose name has been stirring human minds for more than 2,000 years, the legendary Atlantis. This enigmatic civilization, described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, seems to beckon researchers into the depths of the ocean, promising incredible discoveries and answers to fundamental questions about our past. According to Plato, Atlantis was a powerful island state located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient name for the Strait of Gibraltar. It was not just a country, but a genuine marvel of engineering, with concentric canals, magnificent temples adorned with precious metals, and technologies far ahead of its time. Plato describes the Atlanteans as a people who were initially noble and wise, but gradually became corrupted by sin and pride, for which they were punished by the gods. In one day and one terrible night, as the ancient text says, catastrophic earthquakes and floods swallowed this wondrous island, forever hiding it beneath the waves. But was this just a philosophical allegory, or a reflection of real events? Archaeologists, geologists, historians, and even mystics have been trying to answer this question for centuries. Some scientists believe that the legend may have been based on a real event, a catastrophic volcanic eruption on the island of Santorini around 1650 BC, which destroyed the advanced Minoan civilization. The enormous tsunamis caused by this catastrophe could have reached the shores of Egypt, from where, according to Plato, the story of Atlantis reached the Greeks. Other researchers point to striking similarities in the architecture and engineering solutions described by Plato with the culture of the ancient inhabitants of America. Could the Atlanteans have been a link between the old and new worlds long before Columbus? The famous oceanographer and explorer Jacques-Yves Cousteau devoted years to searching for the remains of the submerged civilization. "The ocean keeps its secrets more tightly than we think," he said after one of his expeditions. "Under the waves, there may lie an entire chapter of human history that we are not even aware of." Of particular interest are recent discoveries of underwater structures off the coast of Cuba. In the area known as the Cuban Underwater City, a complex of geometrically correct formations at a depth of more than 600 meters, discovered using hydroacoustic devices in 2001. Could these mysterious structures be the remains of ancient buildings created by a highly developed civilization? Or are they just a whimsical creation of nature, giving the impression of artificial constructions? No less intriguing are the studies in the area of the Azores, an archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean, which some theorists consider to be the possible peak of the submerged continent of Atlantis. Geological research confirms that part of these islands could have been flooded as a result of sea level rise after the last ice age. But how extensive was this land? Could it have accommodated the developed civilization described by Plato? The local legends of the Azores are full of stories about strange lights over the water on moonless nights, about inexplicable underwater sounds resembling music, and about fishermen who, on particularly clear days, claim to see the outlines of ancient buildings in the depths of the ocean. "The sea speaks to us in a language that we have forgotten how to understand," shares the old fisherman Miguel Ferreira. "Our ancestors knew that an ancient land slept beneath the waves, and sometimes it wakes up." What is particularly striking about the legend of Atlantis is the amazing similarity of such tales among peoples separated by thousands of kilometers and having no contact with each other. From the Maya Indians to the ancient Celts, from the Egyptian priests to the Polynesian sailors, everywhere we find references to a great civilization swallowed by the sea for its sins and pride. Can collective human memory preserve echoes of a real historical event of such a global scale? And if Atlantis did exist, what other secrets did it take with it to the bottom of the ocean? What knowledge and technologies were lost on that fateful day when the waters closed over the magnificent temples and palaces of the Atlanteans? Perhaps the answers lie somewhere in the impenetrable darkness of the ocean depths, patiently waiting for humanity to be ready to meet its forgotten past. Even the boldest seekers of Atlantis acknowledge that there are places in the world ocean where the search for ancient mysteries can turn into a deadly danger. One such place is the ominous maritime zone off the eastern coast of Japan, known as the Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle. This mysterious region, located in the Pacific Ocean about 100 kilometers south of Tokyo, is shrouded in an atmosphere no less sinister than its famous Atlantic counterpart, the Bermuda Triangle. Japanese fishermen have long avoided these waters, passing down legends from generation to generation about strange lights over the sea, inexplicable storms occurring on clear days, and ships disappearing without a trace along with their crews. Ma no Umi, so the locals call this place, which translates to Sea of Demons, or Devil's Sea. Ancient Japanese manuscripts mention a mysterious underwater palace, Ryugu-jo, the abode of a sea dragon god who, according to legends, takes the souls of drowned sailors. Is this coincidence with the real anomalous zone? What particularly intrigues researchers is the striking similarity of phenomena observed in the Dragon's Triangle and the Bermuda Triangle, despite the thousands of kilometers separating these two places. The same unexplained disappearances of ships and aircraft, the same malfunctions of navigation equipment, and the same reports of strange atmospheric phenomena. Can nature create two practically identical phenomena on opposite sides of the planet? Or are we dealing with something that transcends our understanding? One of the most famous disappearances in the Devil's Sea occurred in 1952, when a Japanese research vessel, Kaiyo Maru No. 5, with a crew of 31 people, set out to study volcanic activity in this area and vanished without a trace. The search operation yielded no results. No wreckage, no signs of a shipwreck, no distress signals. The ship, along with its entire crew of experienced sailors and scientists, seemed to have dissolved into the ocean depths. What could have happened to a modern ship equipped with all means of communication and rescue? Professor Kiyoshi Wadazumi, who has devoted decades to studying this phenomenon, proposes the existence of special geomagnetic anomalies in the Dragon's Triangle associated with tectonic activity. In this area, several tectonic plates converge, creating unique conditions, he explains. Sudden methane releases from the ocean floor or powerful underwater currents caused by plate movements could explain some of the disappearances. However, even this renowned scholar admits that not all cases can be rationally explained. Particularly baffling are the testimonies of survivors after encountering anomalies in the Devil's Sea. Captain Takashi Yamaguchi, who miraculously returned from this cursed zone in 2007, recounted a strange fog that enveloped his ship. It was unnaturally dense and had a greenish hue. All our instruments malfunctioned simultaneously. And then we saw it. A huge shadow under the water, moving around the ship. It was larger than any known marine creature. What did Captain Yamaguchi see? An unknown marine animal? A submarine? Or something completely different, not classifiable within our reality? The Japanese government long treated stories about the Devil's Sea with skepticism until a tragedy in 1954 forced them to recognize the problem. 2 patrol aircraft of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force disappeared in this area on a clear day while performing routine duties. The last message from the pilots contained only a strange phrase. "This is impossible. It is rising from the water." After this incident, the Devil's Sea was officially marked on Japanese maritime charts as a dangerous zone. What is even more astonishing is that some researchers have discovered mysterious underwater structures on the ocean floor in the center of the Dragon's Triangle, resembling artificial constructions. Professor Masaki Kimura of Ryukyu University has been studying underwater formations near Yonaguni Island, located at the edge of the ominous triangle, for years. What we found has 2 regular geometric shapes to be the result of natural erosion, he asserts. Staircase terraces, straight angles, columnar structures. All of this points to a possible artificial origin. Could an ancient civilization have existed in this region thousands of years ago, before the rising sea level swallowed its cities? And if so, are the modern anomalies connected to some technologies or energy sources left by this submerged culture? Perhaps the Devil's Sea and the Bermuda Triangle are just doors to another reality, portals that existed long before the advent of humanity. We can only, and as the ocean, instead, some versions of the legend add that in a fit of rage, Vanderdecken killed a crew member who advised him to turn back, and then blasphemously cursed God, challenging him. For this sacrilege, the ship and its crew were condemned to eternal wandering at sea, never finding rest in a harbor. Remarkably, reports of encounters with the Flying Dutchman continue to this day. Sailors describe the ghostly ship as an old vessel with torn sails, glowing with an unnatural light, often surrounded by a greenish or bluish aura. Sometimes witnesses mention a ghostly crew performing their duties on deck, as if frozen in time. The most chilling aspect of these accounts is that the Flying Dutchman appears suddenly out of nowhere and can move against the wind and current, defying all laws of physics. Can we explain these observations solely through optical illusions, mirages, or collective hallucinations of exhausted sailors? Or do these stories hide something more mysterious beyond our understanding? Maritime folklore of all peoples is unanimous. An encounter with the Flying Dutchman is the most ominous sign that can befall a sailor. Those who have seen the ghostly ship are doomed to a swift end. Their ship is inevitably doomed to disaster. Admiral of the British fleet, Prince George of Cambridge, future King George V, recorded in his diary in 1881 during a voyage off the coast of Australia. At 4 a.m, we sighted a strange ship with red lights. It suddenly appeared before us, and just as suddenly disappeared. A few weeks later, a passenger ship on the same route sank, taking the lives of 400 people. Coincidence? Or a sinister omen? A particularly intriguing incident occurred during World War II when a German submarine patrolling the waters off the Cape of Good Hope reported encountering an old sailing ship, which, according to the captain, passed through the water without creating waves. 4 members of the submarine crew, including an officer, confirmed this observation under oath. A week later, the submarine was sunk by a British destroyer. The surviving crew members, taken prisoner, continued to insist on the truth of their story, despite the skepticism of their interrogators. Professor of Maritime Folklore at Oxford University, Jonathan Harrison suggests that the legend of the Flying Dutchman may have a real historical basis. The archives of the Dutch East India Company do indeed mention a captain named Bernard Fokker, whose ship disappeared without a trace off the Cape of Good Hope around 1641. It is possible that his story, embellished with mystical details, became the legend of the cursed ship. However, this rational explanation cannot entirely dispel the mysterious aura surrounding the Flying Dutchman. Why do so many sailors, practical and little given to fantasies, continue to report encounters with the ghostly ship? Why are these observations often recorded in official ships' logs, despite the risk of ridicule and skepticism? And most importantly, why do these encounters with the terrifying regularity precede maritime disasters? Perhaps in the depths of our collective unconscious lie archetypes and symbols that manifest in moments of approaching danger. Or is the Flying Dutchman something more than just a legend, a manifestation of unknown dimensions of reality that occasionally reveal themselves in certain points of the world's oceans? Regardless of the explanations, the legend of the ghost ship continues to live, passed down from generation to generation of sailors. And as long as the ocean holds its secrets, as long as strange silhouettes and lights appear in the sea mist, the story of the captain who challenged God and was condemned to eternal wandering will continue to stir the imagination of people, reminding us that not all mysteries of the ocean depths can be explained by modern science. For, as the old maritime saying goes, the sea holds more secrets than the boldest imagination can encompass. But not only the vast ocean hides mysteries of the past and unsolved enigmas, some of the most intriguing mysteries are found on small patches of land washed by ocean waters. One such mystery, which has captivated the minds of researchers and adventurers for over 2 centuries, is the famous Oak Island, located off the coast of Nova Scotia in Canada. This small island, with an area of just 70 hectares, has become the site of one of the longest and most fruitless search operations in human history. At the heart of this story is the mysterious Money Pit, a mysterious shaft said to hide untold treasures protected by a complex system of traps and possibly an ancient curse. The story of this mystery began in 1795 when a young Daniel McGuinness, exploring the island, discovered a strange depression in the ground and an old oak block above it. Intrigued by his find and inspired by pirate tales, he and his friends began digging. What they discovered set off a decades-long obsession. At a depth of about 2 meters, they encountered a platform of oak logs. Removing it, they continued digging, only to find another platform at 4 meters and another at 6 meters. It became clear that this was not an ordinary pit, but a meticulously designed shaft. But who and why created this complex structure on a sparsely populated island? Numerous expeditions over the next 200 years only deepened the mystery. In 1849, an extraordinary feature of the Money Pit was discovered, a system of tunnels connecting the shaft to the ocean. When a certain depth was reached, the shaft began to fill with seawater, making further digging impossible. Who could have created such a perfect system of protection in the pre-industrial era? The engineering skill required to build these tunnels seems incredible for the time when the shaft was supposedly created. In 1867, a stone slab with mysterious symbols was found, which some researchers interpreted as an encrypted message. According to one interpretation, the inscription read, 40 feet below lie 2 million pounds. Is this a clue to the location of the treasure or another riddle confusing seekers? What is even more intriguing, the Money Pit seems to be guarded by something more sinister than just engineering traps. Over the years of digging on the island, 6 people have died under mysterious circumstances. Some local residents believe that the treasure is guarded by an ancient curse, stating that the treasure will be found only after it has taken 7 lives. Researchers have proposed various theories about the origin of the Money Pit and the supposed treasures. The most popular version links the shaft to pirates, in particular, to the legendary Captain Kidd, who might have hidden his riches here before his execution. Other researchers suggest that the pit could have been created by Spanish or French sailors to hide military treasure. More exotic theories point to the Templars, who are said to have hidden their legendary treasures, including the Holy Grail or the Lost Ark of the Covenant, on the island. Some even connect the Money Pit to the Masons or the Rosicrucians, suggesting that the shaft might contain ancient manuscripts and secret knowledge instead of gold and jewels. What particularly puzzles researchers is the discovery of artifacts that seem to confirm each of these theories. Fragments of parchment, links of a golden chain, strange metallic artifacts of unknown origin. But no expedition has been able to reach the supposed treasure trove. Modern technologies, including drilling, water pumping, and even remote sensing, have proven powerless against the mystery of Oak Island. Each time researchers seem to be getting closer to the solution, the shaft presents new surprises and obstacles. Is the Money Pit the greatest archaeological mystery of North America, or the longest-running hoax in history? Why do all attempts to reach the bottom of the shaft end in failure, despite modern equipment and significant financial investment? And the most worrying question, does the island indeed hide a secret that someone, or something, does not want to reveal to the world? As long as the Money Pit of Oak Island continues to keep its secrets, it makes us ponder how many more unsolved mysteries are hidden in the most unexpected corners of our planet, waiting for their moment and for those who dare to challenge the unknown. Turning our gaze from the enigmatic Oak Island with its impregnable Money Pit to even more mysterious remnants of the past hidden beneath the ocean's depths, we find that the depths of the world's oceans hold silent cities and ruins that could completely alter our understanding of ancient human history. One of the most mysterious underwater discoveries, sparking heated debates in the scientific community, is the monumental structure off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, discovered in 1987. This colossal underwater structure, resembling a stepped pyramid with terraces, platforms, and perfect right angles, rests at a depth of 25 meters in the emerald waters of the East China Sea. Is it a whimsical creation of nature or a man-made monument of an ancient, unknown civilization? Researchers are divided in their opinions. Skeptics argue that these formations are the result of natural erosion and tectonic processes characteristic of the region. However, proponents of artificial origin point to the remarkably precise geometric forms, the presence of roads, steps, columns, and even what appears to be a complex ancient temple complex with an altar. Professor Masaki Kimura, who has studied this structure for over 2 decades, believes that we are witnessing evidence of a highly developed civilization that thrived here at least 10,000 years ago when sea levels were significantly lower. If this is indeed the case, does it not mean that we will have to rewrite the entire history of human development? Even more astonishing discoveries have been made off the coast of India, in the Bay of Bengal, where in 2001 researchers found the ruins of a vast ancient city submerged at a depth of 30 meters. This underwater metropolis, spanning several square kilometers, includes remnants of massive walls, amphitheaters, sculptures, and what appears to be the remains of a grand harbor. Carbon dating of wooden fragments found among the ruins indicates an age of around 9,000 years, far older than the earliest known urban civilizations of Mesopotamia, considered the cradle of human civilization. Could highly developed societies have existed long before, according to the accepted historical timeline, when humans were just beginning to master agriculture? And if so, what caused their disappearance? Some researchers link these submerged ruins to legendary civilizations described in ancient texts. For example, underwater structures off the coast of Cuba, discovered using sonar equipment at a depth of 700 meters, are identified by many enthusiasts as the legendary Atlantis described by Plato. Complex geometric structures resembling pyramids and city quarters stretch over several square kilometers. Scientists, however, exercise caution in their interpretations, noting that without detailed research using underwater vehicles, it is impossible to determine whether these formations are natural or artificial. What is particularly intriguing about these underwater mysteries is their global distribution, from the shores of Greece, where the ruins of the legendary city of Pavlopetri lie submerged for about 5,000 years, to the coast of Alexandria in Egypt, where divers found the remains of Cleopatra's palace and the famous Pharos lighthouse. Ancient submerged cities are discovered practically on every continent. Each of these discoveries raises the question, what could have caused such massive catastrophes, capable of swallowing entire cities and possibly entire civilizations? Geologists point to sea level rise after the last ice age, tectonic shifts, or catastrophic tsunamis as possible causes. However, some researchers propose more audacious hypotheses, linking these inundations to global catastrophes that could have reshaped the entire planet, from asteroid impacts to sudden shifts in the Earth's axis. The thought that these silent underwater witnesses might hold the key to deciphering the legends of the Great Flood, present in the mythology of almost all ancient cultures, is particularly captivating. Could these myths be more than just beautiful tales, but echoes of real events etched into the collective memory of humanity? The study of underwater ruins is fraught with enormous technical difficulties, making each new discovery even more valuable. Ocean currents, deposits, corrosion, and marine life gradually erase the traces of human presence, turning once magnificent structures into indistinguishable formations. How many more submerged cities, temples, and monuments lie hidden in the unexplored depths of the world's oceans? And what secrets might they reveal about our past, about civilizations of which we may not even be aware? As scientists continue to explore these enigmatic underwater structures, the boundary between scientific fact and legend remains blurred, leaving ample room for imagination and new hypotheses. For in the end, perhaps the greatest mystery lies not in what these submerged ruins conceal, but in how open we are to the possibility of an alternative human history, a history that may be far older, more complex, and more mysterious than we have ever dared to imagine. Diving into the mysterious depths of the ocean, it is impossible not to encounter another unsolved mystery: sea monsters that, according to legends, inhabit the dark waters. Legends of kraken, giant snakes, and other sea monsters have long stirred the minds of sailors and researchers. Who among us has not heard tales of giant tentacles emerging from the water to drag entire ships into the abyss? How could such terrifying creatures become part of the folklore of different peoples? Perhaps these stories are based on real encounters with deep-sea creatures that are only now beginning to be revealed to scientists. For example, the kraken, a legendary creature described as a giant mollusk capable of swallowing ships whole, could have been inspired by observations of real deep-sea inhabitants like the giant squid, which can reach lengths of up to 14 meters. But if such creatures truly exist, how many more strange and unknown beings might be hidden in the ocean's depths? Are there other more bizarre and unfamiliar creatures that could be the source of these terrifying legends? Some scientists suggest that the deep sea is home to creatures that, in terms of size and shape, could outstrip our imagination. We know of animals like the giant anglerfish, which can reach lengths of over 100 meters, but their existence remains in the shadows of the scientific community. How could sailors describe such creatures if they had not even been discovered? It is likely that there is some truth in this, as the ocean remains one of the most unexplored places on the planet. Perhaps these are not just myths and legends, but reflections of real observations that have been lost over the centuries. Memories of such encounters were passed down orally, forming images that became increasingly fantastical over time. And yet, how can we explain the sailors' descriptions of sea serpents that, according to their accounts, could grow to enormous sizes and terrorize coastlines? Some researchers link these legends to observations of real marine reptiles, such as the longfish and sea lizards, which could indeed inspire fear with their appearance. But could these creatures be so terrifying that they became the basis for myths about giant serpents? When discussing sea monsters, it is impossible not to mention the phenomenon known as deep-sea sightings. In the 20th century, many people reported encountering strange creatures appearing on the surface near fishing vessels. Monsters that might have been the cause of ancient legends continue to remain a mystery. How can we explain these observations if science cannot confirm their existence? Perhaps there is a truth here that we cannot yet comprehend, or perhaps it is simply the imagination of those who spent long hours in solitude on the vast expanses of the ocean. But where did these legends about sea monsters come from, and how do they reflect the fears and hopes of people? Legends of sea serpents, kraken, and other dark creatures dwelling in the depths remain alive, passed down from generation to generation. They remind us that the world of oceans is full of mysteries, and each wave could hide something extraordinary, yet terrifying. Perhaps this is the essence of sea myths. They serve as a warning that there is something greater in our world than we can comprehend. How many more wonders and horrors are hidden in the boundless waters, waiting for their moment to be revealed? It remains only to dream that one day we will be able to unravel these mysteries and perhaps discover that each legend contains a particle of truth. But this is not the only mystery hidden in the depths of the ocean. Diving even deeper, we encounter a phenomenon known as unidentified submerged objects, or USOs. These mysterious shadows in the abyss have intrigued researchers and laypeople alike for decades. How could it be that objects exhibiting inexplicable maneuvers and speeds, surpassing all known technologies, were spotted in the vast expanses of the ocean? Witness accounts of strange submerged objects range from barely discernible silhouettes to massive objects gliding across the water at incredible speeds. A few years ago, a group of divers off the coast of one of the Pacific Islands encountered an unusual phenomenon. They described how a shining object suddenly emerged from the depths, then disappeared, leaving behind only a splash. How can such observations be explained? Perhaps it is just a trick of light and shadow, or have we witnessed something greater? Some researchers suggest that such objects could be the result of secret military experiments. Maybe they are something humanity created in its quest for the unknown, but never fully understood. However, there are also more exotic theories that propose USOs could be alien spacecraft exploring our world. How is that possible? It is quite likely that we are not alone in the universe, and these mysterious objects are messengers from distant worlds. Nevertheless, science struggles to explain such phenomena. There are also theories pointing to unknown natural phenomena that can create illusions or distortions in perception. Perhaps they are simply new forms of life or phenomena that scientists have not yet classified. Each time we encounter USOs, new questions arise. What is their nature? What are their purposes? No explanations can yet fully clarify the situation, leaving only a veil of mystery over this phenomenon. And yet, despite all efforts to unravel these mysteries, we cannot ignore the realization that the ocean holds many more uncharted secrets. How many such mysterious objects are hidden in the depths, waiting to be discovered? We can only speculate about what happens in the dark waters and what other mysteries, like USOs, may await their discoverers in the future. In this vast, boundless ocean, where reality and fantasy intertwine, there remains only the hope that one day we will solve these mysteries and perhaps discover that every legend, every myth about underwater creatures contains a grain of truth. This is not the only mystery that emerges from the depths. As we move from unidentified underwater objects to mysterious sounds, we encounter a phenomenon that both amazes and raises numerous questions. What are these sounds that echo from the dark abyss of the ocean? One of the most famous is the bloop, a powerful underwater sound recorded in 1997. This enigmatic noise, resembling a crackle or a loud rumble, was detected in an area where the ocean depth reaches several thousand meters. How could such a powerful sound wave arise in the silent depths? Researchers suggest that bloop could have been caused by something natural, such as underwater volcanoes or ice fractures that produce sounds similar to this. However, there remains the possibility that it is something more mysterious, unexplained. Some scientists propose that bloop could be the result of the activity of unknown marine creatures capable of producing such powerful sounds. Imagine creatures living in the ocean depths, about which we do not even suspect, and their voices reaching us through the water. What secrets do they hold? But bloop is not the only sound shrouded in mystery. Researchers have also recorded other powerful underwater sounds, such as Neruda and Slovo. Each of these sounds has its unique characteristics and place of origin, but their origin remains unclear. Some scientists suggest that these sounds may be related to geological activity, such as the movement of tectonic plates or the formation of new underwater mountains. Nevertheless, none of these theories provides a definitive answer to the question of what is happening in the ocean depths. How can we explain such phenomena? Perhaps it is simply a game of nature, or we are encountering something that transcends our understanding. Despite scientific research and modern technologies, such as seismographs and hydrophones, which help analyze sound waves, many questions remain unanswered. What hidden meaning lies in these mysterious sounds? And what can they tell us about life in the ocean? Each of them seems to whisper to us that the underwater world is full of mysteries, and perhaps we are only scratching the surface. And so, when we listen to the voice of the abyss, we understand that each wave and each crack can open doors to unexplored realms. How many more sounds are hidden in the silence of the depths, and what secrets do they hold? Perhaps in the near future, we will be able to solve these mysteries and learn that our ocean not only hides secret sounds but also stories waiting to be told. It seems that the world of underwater sounds is full of life, hidden from our eyes, but how much of it remains inaccessible to us? Ghost islands, vanished lands. Moving away from the mysterious sounds of the ocean, let's delve into the world of vanished islands that once adorned old maps, but no longer exist. These lands, washed by seas and shrouded in mysteries, evoke genuine interest and sometimes even fear. How could an entire land disappear, leaving behind only traces on yellowed atlas pages? Perhaps the most famous of these ghost islands is the Bermuda Triangle, a region where, according to legend, not only ships but also planes vanish. But this is not the only mystery, as there are other vanished islands among the ocean expanses, such as Sandy and Lemuria. Sandy, for instance, was described as a paradise with meadows and forests, but according to records, it suddenly disappeared in the 19th century. How could this happen? Some scientists believe the island was a result of a cartographic error, while others suggest it was submerged due to underwater volcanic activity. Volcanic eruptions can indeed create new islands, but they can also completely destroy existing ones. Ancient legends about Lemuria speak of a highly advanced civilization that vanished without a trace. Some researchers claim Lemuria was a link between various cultures and peoples, but it was submerged in the ocean due to natural catastrophes. Perhaps this was not just a myth, but a real place hiding its secrets beneath the waters of the Indian Ocean. But if Lemuria did exist, how could it have vanished? One theory suggests that active tectonic processes could have caused its submersion, but there is no compelling evidence to support this hypothesis. Are we left to speculate about the fate of these vanished islands? From cartographic errors to legends of lost civilizations, all these elements create an atmosphere of mystery that envelops the oceans and their shores. But this is not the only secret hidden in the waters. What about the island mentioned in ancient texts but never found by any modern researcher? Vanished lands like Atlantis continue to spark debates and interest among scientists and adventurers. According to Plato, Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization that disappeared in an instant, swallowed by the sea. How could such a developed culture vanish without a trace? Some believe Atlantis is just a myth created to explain natural disasters, while others are convinced it really existed and its traces can be found in yet-to-be-discovered parts of the world. There are even theories linking the disappearance of Atlantis to global catastrophes like floods or earthquakes. But despite all the research and searches, none of these places have been found, and the mysteries of their disappearance remain unsolved. Each of these ghost islands leaves behind a multitude of questions that have puzzled researchers and enthusiasts of mysteries for centuries. Are there still undiscovered lands waiting to be found? How many more secrets does the ocean hold? And how many myths about submerged civilizations remain just legends without a real basis? Realizing that history is full of mysteries, we continue to seek answers, and perhaps one day we will unravel the secrets surrounding the vanished islands and their inhabitants. While some islands disappear, others may appear, leaving us only hints of their existence. But as practice shows, these mysteries may be closer than we think, and our oceans are full of stories waiting to be told. How many more wonders are hidden beneath the waves, and how many unexplored lands remain on the map of our planet? Ocean depths, secrets we have yet to unravel. The ocean, this vast and enigmatic world, serves not only as a source of life for millions of creatures, but also as an abyss concealing numerous chilling mysteries that often become true nightmares for humans. We have already explored sunken ghost islands, ancient civilizations, and their fates, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. The ocean is filled with unsolved mysteries that continue to trouble the minds of researchers and adventure enthusiasts. How many more unexplored lands lie beneath its waves? What chilling stories might be waiting to be told? Each time we gaze upon the boundless sea, we seem to feel its ominous aura, reminding us of the forces of nature and the unexplored depths that can swallow everything in their path. Research and exploration continue, but even the most advanced technologies, such as LiDAR scanning and underwater drone systems, do not always reveal all the secrets. How can we avoid the questions that continue to haunt us? What happened to those who dared to embark on risky journeys through treacherous waters, and what secrets do their stories hide? Perhaps among the ocean depths lie treasures left behind by forgotten civilizations, or perhaps there are chilling artifacts that could change our understanding of history. We invite you to share your most chilling ocean stories or theories in the comments. Perhaps you know something that could help us unravel these mysteries. Subscribe to our channel to delve into the world of secrets and mysteries, where each new episode unveils a new layer of the unknown. But remember, this is just a small part of the ocean's secrets. In the depths of the ocean, there is still much unexplained, and perhaps you will be the one to uncover them. How many more secrets await us beyond the horizon, in this dark and alluring world?